Welcome to the after party. Welcome to the after party. Did you bring some snacks and treats?
Yes, it did.
I hope you got me something to eat.
Maybe.
Welcome to the after party. Coming to the after party.
Right now.
I've been waiting here all day to act like a fool this way. Welcome to the after party. Join us in the after party.
Right now.
Oh, chocolate and dabbing, maybe some microphone dabbing at the after party.
With DJ Airrick, Pete.
Oh, there we go.
We're too busy dancing there. It looked
Yeah, I
like
was
you
too
might have.
busy getting the chalk remix. Is what
Oh,
I'm
okay. I
doing,
thought you might have called the old boogie bug.
Oh, maybe. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the after party. We are here on a Tuesday, talking about Superman and Lois. We got a whole episode to talk about, just one this week, and I think this means we got 7 weeks left now. Isn't that right? 7 weeks. Yeah, I believe it's, if my math
Yeah,
is
if
right.
we can do the old, for once, your math is correct. Here.
Okay. 7 weeks left. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the reveal about the Superman movie. We have that. And then some Joker updates. There's some interesting...
Oh.
There's some
Hashtag
interesting things to
Joker
talk about
update.
Joker. Oh my gosh. There's some interesting Joker stuff to talk about. I'm telling you. Like, it's pretty crazy right now. Anyway, but before we get into that, I want to do some shout outs here. We have Defunct in the house, Team Airrick member. Thank you so much. South Texas Shark, another Team Airrick member in the building. We also have one Marvel fan. Fetman plays Arachna Cal. Runzia. Screwface is here. Giovanni is here. We haven't seen Giovanni in forever. Giovanni, one of Paige's favorite chatters here during the show. Welcome to the show, everyone. I hope everybody's having a good week. I know last week all the stuff was going on in Florida. Hopefully, if you are down in that area, you have paddled yourself out of that dystopian nightmare and you're getting some assistance. Have you seen some of the pictures from Florida, Paige? Any of the damage and stuff that happened down there?
Not like in the past couple of days, but I saw some of the stuff where like just complete houses, like the first level's just completely just gone, just like they could have like jumped off like the second floor in there like a pool or something.
I have some family members that have been up here since last week that are going back today to assess the damage, and I'm laughing because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be good. So.
You wouldn't go down with any hope, like you wouldn't go down like with any you just go down expecting the worst.
Well, the good thing is that they didn't have pets, so there was no pet situation. All of their important documents they brought with them, so it's really just the property. We'll see. So how do you say this person's name? Because they say you're the only person that says it right. So,
well, I'm not. You're American, Eric, so that explains it.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
What is it? What does it say? If you say it right.
Well, now you're putting pressure on me.
Well, they're the ones that said it, not me.
Yeah. So how did you say it?
I said Runisa.
Runisa. I'm gonna say it's Runisa.
Is it Runisa? Like Ru, like R-U, and then Nisa.
Yeah.
Runisa. Okay, so tell me if Paige was right.
Like Lisa.
Okay, tell me if Paige was right on that one. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into Superman and Lois. Spoilers are in full effect, so if you haven't seen it...
Run Isa. Like Isa or Run Isa.
So you got it wrong too, so I don't feel bad now.
Yeah, but yours one sounded worse, so I'm going to take the W.
It?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, minor W, major L for you, minor W for you.
We have season 4, the final season, episode 3, which I'm going to say right out the gate, I think this is one of the best, if not the best, episodes of Superman and Lois. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, like when I was watching it, when I just finished, like as the credits rolled and stuff like that, I was sitting there going like, I think in regards to like a singular episode in the story they were trying to tell and sort of like the bookends of it, I'm not saying like objectively it is, but I
Mm,
find it hard off the top of my head. Obviously, it could be an episode in season 1 or 2 easily, but um, I I think that is the best episode the show's ever done in regards to the
mm,
structure and um, yeah, like the structure of it and balancing in the flashbacks, but also like the various reveals, the emotion around it, the ending, the setup. Whoever wrote the episode, and
mm.
actually it was Todd Helbing and Brent Fletcher. Actually, it was the two showrunners. Now that I remember, because that was something I remembered. Because episode 2 is not written by the showrunners; it's written just by writing staff. But then
Mm.
episode 3 this episode was written by the showrunners. I'm like, why? Usually the showrunner will write the first episode, maybe the first two, and then they won't come back until the finale. So I was
Right.
like, why do they have, especially because that last, like episode 1 and 2 are pretty much like back to back connected. And I'm like, wouldn't they just write both of them? Why are they writing 3 instead of 2? Now I understand because it was such a
Mm.
fucking big episode. Like
I
now I
actually
can,
think that the emotional components in this episode, what we get at the end, kind of required a very precise writing style. Like you had to weave it together in the right way. And I don't, no offense to like the staff writers or people that are in the writing room, but I think something as important as what happens in this episode needed to be done by the showrunner, or at least by the head writer, one or the other,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And, but
Um,
like, so, as soon as it, like, I had forgotten that point because I remember that point when I was like, leading up to the episode, but as I was watching, I sort of forgot. And then I realized after, I was like, oh, well, that's why they wrote this episode and didn't
mm,
write episode 2, why they sort of like skipped an episode to come into this one.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I just think I mean, I think they nailed it. Like, the only minor thing where I was like, oh, question mark, and it was minor as hell. Like, you don't even remember it by the end of the episode. But it was like with Superman's heart, they don't have Lex Luthor really say that whether like real or fake. But I guess that's the
right,
whole point leading up to the end of the episode. So
yeah.
like halfway through the episode, I'm like, oh, are they going to reference any of that stuff, like
Mm.
whether it was real or fake?
We
Because
do
that was
get a
the question.
scene with Lex that's quite good. I mean, like in the episode,
Yeah.
so it doesn't address that. We have a super chat here from Radical Z. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. A $5 super chat. I just got finished with Superman and Lois, and there were tears. Is this the best Lex? I hope they don't do the death of Superman in the DCU storyline. I've heard people saying that this Lex is. I mean, it's hard to say best because I feel like we're just now getting the proper version. Like I think last season we got him, but it was like a build up to this one, and this is the proper version that we're supposed to be getting in Superman and Lois. A lot of people are saying that this season Lex is better than he was last season in general, just overall. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think this is the best version of Lex? I still feel like Michael Rosenbaum is near and dear to my heart, but maybe that's just because of the amount of time we got him on the show. Maybe it's just a lot of him.
He's definitely the scariest Lex Luthor we've had in regards to like the lengths that he's willing to go to.
Mhm.
But Michael Rosenbaum's always going to be hard because he had so much screen time and so much development. Like he doesn't leave that show until like what season 7 or 8 or something like
Yeah.
that, and he's a regular all the
And that's
time.
back
So
when we got like 20 to 23 episodes a season. So he was in a lot of episodes.
yeah, so it's always going to be hard to. I think you could have best moments, and I think you could probably easily beat that. But in regards to a consistency sort of thing, I mean, it's like someone coming in and being like any of the like characters that were in the Arrowverse and stuff. Like, yeah, they were there for 5, 6, 7, 10 years or whatever it is. Like, it's always going to be hard to trump them in regards to like a fan favorite or that because you spent so much time and so much development there. So I think the clear thing is that this Michael Cudlitz's version is like definitely the most, well, yeah, threatening Lex.
I would say not just threatening. I would also say, in my opinion, the most realistic Lex we've had in a while. Because I would say that the one we had on Supergirl, even though John Cryer did a great job, definitely more comic booky, more over the top in some regards. And then we had the Lex from the DCEU, which
Your
essentially
favorite?
wasn't really Lex. I mean, I don't feel like that was a proper Lex, so it's really hard to judge that one.
Well, I think the other thing is that I do like the fact, and it was sort of something I was hoping once, like we sort of, like he was brought in last season, they set him up, but also leading into this season was, it always felt more organic to me in a way that Lex was a Lois villain. It doesn't really, I don't really think it makes a ridiculous amount of sense unless you're getting this Lex Luthor that's overly science and techie, that he's a Superman villain. It makes more sense if it's like, you know, grounded, but just like not like, gee willikers, like here's my like tech thing that I have. It makes more sense that he's majority of the time a Lois villain if Lois is going to target him
because Lois is an investigative reporter and Lex is a corrupt business person, so it makes sense that those two would cross
whether
paths.
it's cross paths or just get into sort of like mutual territory where, you know, there would be a bit of a conflict of interest or whatever it might be. Though at the same time, you still want Superman to be involved, which he is. Well, he was, and now he's dead, but I'm sure he'll be involved once he comes back to life again.
Yeah.
Well,
as far as like the death of Superman and DCU storyline, it's a long way away. I feel like we're going to talk about the Superman movie and the drama surrounding a particular picture that came out today. We'll talk about that at the end of this, but
you have to, the big thing with anything, like with any death, or you have to earn it. And the thing is that, I mean, with the movie, like I don't think James Gunn's universe will get to the point where they will earn it. Because you're just not going to get, you get this Superman.
Not in 10 years. Not in 10 years. Look how quickly it happened in the DCEU, and it meant nothing. It really didn't mean anything.
You might get 3 Superman movies if they perform well. That's not enough time to earn a Death of Superman storyline.
No, we need a proper Justice League team up and all that stuff.
But that's the thing. I think if Superman Lois existed on its own and Tyler Hoechlin hadn't been Superman before, they wouldn't have done Death of Superman. I think they've done it and they felt that they earned it because Tyler has been Superman since what,
2018? Was it 2016?
Is it 17 or 16 or something like that? With Supergirl season 2, I feel like it was 2016.
2017. Well, it started at the end of 2016. But
end of 2016. Yeah.
So he's been around for a minute, so it does make sense to do that. I don't even want to think about the death of Superman in the DCU. To be honest, I don't even want to think about it. It's one of those things like get it out of my head right now. 100%.
We got bigger issues.
And then Radical Z with a $2 super chat again. Thank you so much. Lois is having a bad season. My gosh, Lois has had bad seasons. Like, do we forget what she went through last season? Lois is a very strong character. Elizabeth is killing it in terms of like acting. The new Lois has a lot of ground to cover in terms of like living up to this version of Lois Lane. I will say easily my favorite version of Lois Lane. Easily.
Yeah. I think like, and I think Bitsy Tulloch has gotten better the more she's on screen, if that makes sense. Like the more she's played Lois, the better she's gotten. It hasn't been this thing where she's just been consistent, if that makes sense. Like stayed like, an 8 out of 10 every single time. I think she's gotten better each time that she's each season that she's been in.
I think she's got a great career ahead of her in TV if she continues to work. I know a lot of people that do the CW shows are going to be struggling a bit because they're going to have to start looking for streaming shows to get on, and the market for that isn't quite as wide as it was, I guess, before. I mean, you're looking at much smaller episode counts, shorter turnover times for seasons. It's not going to be great.
Well, just to veer off, I saw that Emily Bett Ricard's got cast as the, I don't know if it's the lead, but she's like the title character in like this show that has like Walton Goggins and
did you see the picture that she shared?
Yeah, it's like she's like a wrestler. It's like a real life wrestler.
But hold on, we have to like look this up. Hold on. I actually had it somewhere and I forget what I did with it now. Here it is. Some people might be triggered by this because it's because she looks so different. Like, here we go. Like, look at that.
Oh, okay, that's not what I saw. I saw it was like her in the ring or something.
I mean, that almost looks like a Photoshop to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The transformation is crazy. I'm like, what has happened here? Holy shit. There's a picture of her in the ring. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, it was like her in the like just leaning against like the corner.
Yeah,
of the ring.
that's one of the other ones. But I saw this and I was like, I legitimately thought this was a Photoshop until I followed it back. And I was like, wait, this is real? This is real. I think the one you're talking about is this one here.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah. I was like, this is a real thing? Good for her. I mean, she looks amazing. Like, I don't know if the acting has changed since Arrow, because I know people's criticism of her was she has one emotion all the time. So I don't know if that's the case here, but this is wild that she is, like, she could play a superhero role easily now. Like, no problem. Cast her immediately.
I don't know where it's, because it's a show. Is it a, I think it, or is it a movie?
Let me see. What does it say here? Queen of the Ring premiering October 19th at a film festival. So it's a
okay, so it's a film. Okay, I wasn't too sure because I saw the IMDb. That's where I saw it. I saw like it was like advertised on IMDb or something, because I guess it was like a new like first look or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I saw the cast and I was like, oh, what the hell? Like a Walton Goggins and there's like a bunch of other people in this movie.
Yeah, apparently this is it was a period in time where women's pro wrestling was illegal nationwide. And one small town person, Mildred Burke, tried to change that. So it's pretty crazy. I'm kind of speechless on that one. Yeah, Defunct says she's been lifting regularly. Good for her. Yeah, I mean, clearly made a change. I don't know if it was just for this role or not. I know she talked about it in that little thing. We're not going to read through it, but she did talk a little bit about just changing her health habits in general. And I don't know if that's what led her to look that way, or if she did that like specific, because there's workout routines where you can go, oh, I want to do cardio, or I want to do, I want to get bigger in my arms, I want a bigger chest, bigger legs.
Like you can go, like you can do like calisthenics where you just sort of like use your own body weight and stuff like that, and you don't really look too much different. You just sort of
yeah.
All
right, so let's get into this episode. The first thing I want to talk about is Steel and Starlight. Now, I know some people were kind of confused about this because of the code name. I don't think this code name was established last season, right? Starlight?
No, I didn't realize, because I think she has another name in the things, but in the comics,
Vaporlock. She's either Starlight or Vaporlock.
But it's not Starlight is the term.
It's Natasha.
It's Natasha. Natasha Hines and stuff. But so it's in the comics. Yeah, I know that people have been like, hold on, the boy view of that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't you?
So, so because Superman is not around, I guess they feel like they need some sort of protection. So the DOD asked Steel and Starlight to come back to Smallville. Wait, is the DOD in Smallville, or is it near Smallville?
The DOD is in. They mentioned in previous season. I can't remember where exactly it is. It's
close enough by that it's like a car drive away, though. I mean,
it's not in Smallville because
that would make no sense. But so they wanted to move to Metropolis. There was a whole conversation. This was an interesting one, and I want to pull up the picture here. Let me get it on screen, because a lot of people were making fun of this one here. But there was this whole thing where Natalie wanted to go through school and have a normal life because, she lost all of that when evil Superman destroyed their world. So they're talking about that a little bit. And I guess that's not in the cards because now they want to go back and help General Lane and, take the place of Superman. And so you get this really good moment, actually a couple of scenes between them. And I think it was really good. The one thing I was talking about is there's a lot of people joking. They're like, did they have the picnic in the middle of the road? Did you see the scene? Like, it's just literally the truck. It looks like it's in the middle of the road where they're having this picnic at.
Yeah.
People were saying that it looked like they stopped in the middle of the road and just decided to eat. Which, look, the budget cuts are real. They're not going to scout out a million locations for things and stuff. They're going to film wherever they can find a good spot. And this was where they chose to do it. But it was kind of funny because they have the whole thing behind them with the plates and stuff. Nothing is taken out. You just have the two cups next to them and everything. I thought it was an oddly framed scene. But I will say, I think the reason why we're getting scenes like this is the budget cut. Obviously, they lost money. They're not gonna be able to scout out a million places anymore to film. We're gonna see places that look familiar, ambiguous places, things like that. I mean, the lack of extras is pretty obvious. I'll talk about that more in a moment as well. But what did you think of their storyline in general in the episode? Because they were going after Doomsday, knowing full well that Doomsday killed Superman. I thought this was like a completely, like, I understand they wanted to try everything they could, but ultimately it was, I guess, just to slow Doomsday down at this point. Because there's nothing they could do, right?
Well, yeah, there's nothing like, yeah, like I think by the time they're out and about and they're flying towards Doomsday, they already have the plan from General Lane. So they know exactly what their role is right there. Their role isn't to take down Doomsday or stun him or something. It's just to stop him until, like, give like General Lane a couple of minutes to get out there.
Yeah, because General Lane, we'll talk about that as well, but General Lane had a plan. And the only people, I guess, that were aware of that plan at this point were the two of them.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was the hammer destroyed? Is that why he doesn't have the hammer anymore? Because I feel like that would have been a weapon that he would have had to use against Doomsday. Was it? I'm blanking on that one. I don't remember what happened to the hammer.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. What did happen to the hammer?
Because that would have been the perfect weapon to use against Doomsday. So I'm like, why did we not use that? I feel like it must have been destroyed. And I'm just
trying to remember if it was even in last season.
I think it was in last season.
I'm not too sure.
Does anybody in the chat remember?
Well, you got to remember, because a lot of the times when he did the hammer thing, he wouldn't like bring it with him. He'd do like the Thor sort of.
Yeah. But even so, this would have been the time to do that. Would have been for him to use the hammer to call it to him or whatever. I feel like.
Yeah, I think. We'll probably see it again, but I just can't remember like when, like, because sometimes he uses it, sometimes he doesn't. Like, it's not like every single time he's in this.
Because I felt, to me, the hammer is what distinguished him visually from Iron Man. Because without the hammer, he's just basically Iron Man or War Machine. So without the hammer, to me, that the hammer is so visually iconic to steal, in my opinion. Yeah. So if you're not going to have the cape, you have to have the hammer. Otherwise, it's just Iron Man. So I don't know, but I like these scenes. I like the two of them together. I'm glad they brought them back. Since we're 3 episodes in now, I can honestly say I don't know how this season would have looked if these people would not have come back to the show. Like, I don't know what the show would have been, what the plans for the show were, without the supporting characters. Because remember, we were going to lose all of these characters initially. What do you think the plan was? Do you think it was a Metropolis-based season? Because
I'd say yes, but also, like, I don't know how they would have balanced that out unless all the characters moved to Metropolis. I don't know how they would have kept the two characters relevant, at least consistently. If yeah. Oh, yeah, it was used to kill Adam Man. What is that? Adam Man?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. That was like early into last season. I think he used it a couple times last season early on.
Yeah, but I don't remember what happened to it. It's just like it disappeared.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But yeah, it was only a couple times last season.
Maybe it was budget. Maybe it was just too expensive to use it. I mean, I don't know. It was noticeably absent for me the whole time in that scene. I'm like, why do they not have that?
I didn't even think about it. It's like you might be regressing, Eric, into season 3 Flash mode.
What do you mean?
Nitpicking all the time.
How is the hammer a nitpick? It's an unexplained issue. Like, where did it go? I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I'm gonna have to go back and watch last season and see if they explain it. Because
I'm just trying to trigger you, Eric. It's working.
So Giovanni said, I looked it up. He used it in season 3 episode. So he used it at the end of this last season, which means the hammer is still around.
Not the end. It was 13 episodes last season.
That's still close to the end. That would have been.
That's the middle part. Season, so. Back end of the middle.
No, it's not the middle.
What do you mean? It is back end of the middle.
But you're making it seem like it's further back than that.
No, I'm not. You're trying to make it out like I'm saying it's like episode 2. It's like, no, it's episode 9, back end of the middle.
Yeah. So the thing is, Canada. That's what I'm thinking. Like, maybe he broke it last season, but I don't remember him breaking it. So I feel like we're getting lost in the weeds here. All right. Let's talk about the next thing on my list here. After having a profound emotional breakdown while coming to terms with the loss of his father, Jonathan discovers the stress has kickstarted his superpower abilities. And we have this like struggle with Jordan and Jonathan in this episode because obviously Jordan has always been the weird brother that never totally got it. And so he's still struggling with having powers. And then Jonathan gets them. And due to the magic of TV budget cuts and low episode counts, he learns how to use his powers pretty quickly. Now, I know they're going to explain this away where he's just proficient because he's always been the one that should have had the powers. I mean, remember Jonathan from Bizarro Earth or whatever, was really good with his powers as well. But I would say it's a double hitter for them. They need to get through this quickly. They can't spend 3 seasons showing Jonathan learning how to use his powers, but they also need to show that he's the more skilled brother with the powers. So I feel like it's a double whammy for them, right? Is that the takeaway for you on that?
Yeah, I think the way they explained it is fine. I think it's like, I think like the fact that he was like this, like, I guess like natural athlete and stuff like that, like seemed to excel regardless of what he did, in regards to sport and stuff like that. But then also like, I know they do chuck in like the leader aspect and stuff like that, and I guess like quick thinking that folds into that and stuff. So, I think it would have been overkill if they had him like jump in and try to fight Doomsday or something this episode. I was sort of worried they were when they were outside the DoD. I thought he was going to try and step in. Like
I did
that
too.
would, I was like, I think that would have been clearly crossing the line. But I'm fine with how they handled it in this episode. I think it makes decent amount of sense.
And it also gives Jordan this struggle, which, by the way, that's the next thing we're going to talk about. But I'm a little concerned about Jordan's path this season and what's going to happen, because it seems to me like there's a wedge being built, and this whole thing with Jonathan and his mother, which we'll get to that, but specifically Jonathan kind of coming down on him, seems like it is creating this environment for him where there's no good door out of that, if that makes any sense. Like there's no easy path to sort of fix things when you have Superman being dead. No, at this point, no, at the point of him getting his powers, no way to fix this. You have Lois that already feels a certain way about how Jordan acted. Jonathan is upset because he thinks Jordan essentially killed his father because of the heart situation, and then he gets his powers. So I think it's going to be a really bad time for Jordan for a few episodes of the season.
Yeah, it does make you wonder if he goes like I do wonder if he gets even more manipulated, not manipulated, but like Lex targets him even more now because he knows that that's like he's like a chink in the armor of like the defense there. So I wonder if he now goes after Jordan more and more. I don't know how, like exactly how he would go about it, but I wonder if he does that.
Well, let's talk about that scene. So, and we had a comment about that earlier I want to bring up, but we have a scene where Jordan, after having all of this drama go on with his mom and Jonathan.
Oh, by the way, no, can we just go back? I feel like are we not addressing like how surprising that was that they gave Jonathan his powers? Like, why are we skipping over the fact that
No, I want to get to that, but I need to get to the next thing first.
Okay, sorry.
Talk about that. We'll get there. So we have Jordan, who is in the barn at this point, and he's like remembering. Dancing, I think. Yeah, he's remembering how everything's going on. He's having PTSD. Now in the barn where Jonathan got his powers,
we have say barn again.
Barn, B-A, like yarn, barn.
In the barn. Barn. The cows are in the barn.
The impression that some of the people that I was hanging out with watching the episode there, when we saw the flashbacks, were that it was a combination of stress and maybe proximity to the ship that powers kickstart. Or do you think that's just the way the show
that was just done? So then, like when he leant on it, it activated. So like that was it. I saw people saying, "Oh, you have to be near the ship to get your powers." I'm like,
that's what I think. I actually think that's what the show was trying to tell us, but
I don't think so. I think that they were just there with the ship, so like because now his power is activated, then the same thing happened with Jordan where the crystal thing comes out like we had in season 1.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying I think the show was trying to create some plausible deniability for how he got his powers, but they needed it to happen.
But I think they reflected back to the moment in season 1 with Jordan when he got his powers because it was a high stress moment where he was physically hurt. And then that happens exactly with Jonathan. He punches, he breaks his hand, and then he's high stress. And they made a point in, was it episode 1, I think it was, where his heartbeat is just like normal. He's not stressing out for the situation with his dad and stuff. But then he finally lets out all of his emotion to Jordan that scene where his heart would have been racing, and now he's injured himself, and that's when his powers activate. Because it's very similar to the situation in season 1 with Jordan when the what was like the big metal pipes or whatever it was fell on him. So it was
that was the flashback scene they showed. That's what I was saying. Like we thought that was the situation. So you say you really like this episode. How do you feel about how he got his powers? Are you on board with it, or are you not on board with it?
Well, yeah, because I think they make a good point through this season and other situations before where, like, you know, Jonathan was never really put in that situation. Like, there's a difference between being hurt, but then like being in the situation he was, or the like the predicament that he was in that in this most recent episode, where he was highly emotional, highly stressed, and physically like hurt. So, I'm fine with how they did it. I think I think the only thing is how it's like, and then obviously if you have to do it like retrospectively and stuff, is how it's handled in the episodes to come with these powers, like what roads they go down. That's the only thing I'm curious about, just because there's so much longer in the season, and I wasn't expecting them. I honestly thought Jonathan was not getting his powers. I thought they were going to end the series and he doesn't have powers. So I'm sure that was the biggest surprise in the episode to me, was him getting his powers, because I didn't think he was going to get them at all. So I was I
actually think the lack of like behind the scenes stuff also has helped the season for surprises, because we don't really know every twist and turn. There's no narrative to weave for the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. Chalk King, you were the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. It's sad this era of DC is ending. Here's to the next. Yeah, I mean, what?
Yes, we're finishing with this amazing season of Superman and Lois. Next up, Creature Commander.
Look, when that comes back, we'll be talking about it. Isn't that starting soon though?
It literally starts, I think, the week following Superman and Lois' series finale. I think, or it might be the same week. It might be the Friday of that week or something. Yeah. So I know you're excited, Eric. I know you're a Creature Commander.
I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I'm not going to say I'm excited or not excited. I don't really know how to feel about it, to be honest.
Look, I think the most important thing you can be is honest, Eric. And at the moment, it seems like you're definitely sitting on the fence with a pick up your ass.
I am kind of sitting on the fence about that.
When does Daredevil come out?
Next year? Very soon, actually.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought it was a while away. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Ironheart, which comes out in 7 years. My bad.
They're going to be like Ironheart's delayed. We got more post production to do. We got some reshoots. I feel it already. So, getting back to this though, we have this moment where Lex confronts Jordan after all of this drama has happened, and like Candygraph says, now Lex has no idea that Jonathan has powers. So that's kind of interesting. Or maybe he does. Maybe he does, and we just don't know. But we have this situation here where Lex comes in and like dumps all of this stuff on Jordan, like in terms of like what happened with his mom, the choice that was made. And I understand why Jordan is so what are you laughing about?
Maddie, here's the next generation of DC. Paige starts talking about Marvel.
Oh yeah. I understand that Lois selected Jonathan because Jordan is the least likely.
Why does this photo of Lex look like it's like a cover of like a memoir or something?
It's the one. It's the official picture. I don't know. It's the one that they released. So.
It looks like they'd have like Lex Luthor above him, and then like, or it's like It's like something that would be in like Variety, like a
Yeah. This is the cover. Like on the
like
top
an
of this would be
interview.
the magazine title or something. An
Yeah.
interview with Michael Cutlets. Like, you know what I
Lex
mean?
Luthor reveals all or something. It's like
Something
like,
along that.
it's as if like
Somebody please turn this into like a magazine cover. That would be
yeah,
so
it's like
funny.
Oprah Winfrey would be walking in the barn as well. So let's have a
And
chat.
under your seats, everybody gets a bald head. That would be hilarious. So.
Everyone gets a bomb or something that's gonna explode.
No, everybody gets a crushed heart. That would be great.
Oh yeah,
a crushed Superman heart.
edible.
But he's in here and he's just laying this on thick to Jordan. He's like showing him the phone call, the selection that was made, and I believe Lois picked Jonathan logically because Jordan has powers, and clearly, out of the two kids, that would be the most vulnerable in this situation. But Jordan isn't thinking of it that way. In his mind, it's his mom picking her favorite. And that's because he doesn't see the fragility in the situation when it comes to Jonathan. And he's also trying to live up to his dad's image. And so all of that is sort of hanging over his head. And one of the comments we got before you got here, and I wanted to pull this up to see if you wanted to explain this, because I actually have the explanation, or at least I believe I have the explanation for this. Why didn't Jordan just kill Luthor in the barn? Do you want to tackle this one, or...
Well, one, I don't know if he'd necessarily want to be jump into the realm of killing. I think that's probably something that Jordan probably didn't want to do. But also, we don't know. Like, I think Jordan's had enough experience with Lex, even just over the single amount, that he doesn't necessarily know what else is at stake. And we also
he's second guessing himself because of what happened with his dad. Yes.
Yeah, and like even the question of like whether the heart was real or not, I think is also
or if he kills Luthor, what happens to his family? Because there might be some sort of like contingency plan where they have people out there waiting to come after his family. You know what I mean? And yes, War Hero. Ultimately, because he's not a murderer. That's the number one reason. But I also want to put out there, because it would end the season. Like, if he were to do this, there would be no tension. So from a production standpoint, he's not going to make that decision. And so that's the reason why. But I know a lot of people were saying, like, oh, he should have done it. No! I don't want Jordan to become a murderous Superboy. Like, that's not who I want that character to be. So I don't know what decision would have been the right decision, but I don't think that was it. If anything, I would lock him up somewhere. He's a regular human being. Maybe you could fly him away and lock him up. I don't know. There could have been other options, but ultimately that would have ended the season, and we have to have a season. So therefore, that's not what happened. So moving on though, actually, any thoughts on this, Paigey? Any thoughts on this whole thing with Lex? So actually, before we move on, what do you think this means for Jordan? Because I feel like it could mean that Jordan may end up fighting Jonathan this season.
I think it just
not as a big finale thing, but just
I think it really depends on Lex's next move, because if it remains a bit calmer and stuff like that, then I don't think there's anything to further trigger Jordan. I don't think, and it's clear that he's on like a bit of an emotional edge or a like cliff face or something like that. So I'd assume that Lex is going to keep prodding the bear, if you want to put it. So, yeah. So I think that's what, and also like I don't think Superman's back. Like, I mean, he's awake, but I think he probably doesn't get like fully back until like maybe like episode 5 or 6 or something like that, in regards to actually being at home. So that definitely gives Lex a couple of at least one episode 4 to play around, if you know what I mean. So I don't know how far Jordan goes. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Jordan and Jonathan fight now, because they can actually fight, because they both have powers. Like, they can actually physically, get into it.
And I think I definitely feel like there's going to be a brotherly fight at some point. I do feel like it. So
did you ever? So how much younger is your brother to you?
Depending on which ones had our birthday, 5 years. There's a point where we're 4
So
years
did you ever
apart.
have it when you were younger, because you're the older brother, so you have the younger brother, where like you'd get into like some sort of fight, and then your younger brother would go, "Mom, he hurt me."
I mean, maybe. I don't really remember, to be honest.
Okay. No, I just remember when I was younger, and like I'd like throw something at my sister, like a pillow, and she'd go, "Oh," and then she'd have and then try and get me in trouble. I'm like, "Shut up."
Yeah, I don't really remember that, but yeah, I'm sure that happened. I mean, that's what every family, which is why I believe it's going to happen here. I do feel like it's going to happen on the show.
Just on a more physical Kryptonian.
Yeah. And then one of them is going to cry to Lois, and she's going to have to like implore them to please not do that. Before we talk about...
Okay, so apparently you don't remember this situation because you were the one crying, Eric.
Oh, yeah. I was the one crying. That's why. That was me. Before we talk about General Lane, which was probably the biggest two surprises in the episode, I want to talk a little bit about Doomsday eating stuff in the sewers or the...
Yeah, who did they say he was eating? I missed it. Did they say it was just like I'll go work, like a subway worker or something?
I guess.
Like
I don't know. It was a little weird throwing body parts everywhere. I'm so confused about this Doomsday thing. Is it literally just no longer capable? Like, is there no Clark left in there at all? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, because there's little bits where like Lois looks at Doomsday, and I think there's still Bizarro in there, but it's like completely corrupt. It's like there's like maybe 2 to 3% of Bizarro like in his brain there, and the rest is completely deformed.
Do you think that the ultimate defeat of Bizarro this season is going to require Lois to help? Like, to distract him or to make it so that he kind of gives up? Because I don't see any way with our current roster of characters that they can defeat Bizarro without some other thing helping them outside of that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Lois is going to be like a part of that type of thing, but like at the end of it, but there's just things like in the most recent episode, like when Doomsday, like they stared at each other, you know.
Right, when he arrived for General Lane, he just stared at her before he flew away.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe
it's weird.
It's
weird because obviously this version of Doomsday physically looks like the Doomsday from the comics more so than any of the other versions we've had. Matter of fact, I've got a little...
Are you sure? You said you were praising the Smallville Doomsday and saying...
Well, there we go, right there.
Yeah, well, you said you loved this version. You said it was so well done. And I think you and 3Dub might have kissed over it because it was so like...
That definitely did not happen.
You agreed with each other so much.
So we have this version here. Then we have this version from Krypton. Thoughts on this one?
Well, it's better than the Smallville one.
Are you sure?
See, now you're proving my point that I said that you really love the Smallville one.
I don't know. This one's giving a little. And then, of course, we have the one from the DCEU.
Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, this one's weird. I feel like this one could have almost been there. It was very close. And then, of course, we have the one from Superman and Lois, which I think is clearly the best of the four, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think it's this one, then the Krypton one, and then the other two are pretty arse.
I don't know. I'm hoping that Lois plays a part in bringing Doomsday down because I think it makes sense. They're kind of alluding to it. So I just feel like that's a direction they should go in. Zaya says the BVS one isn't that bad. Well,
it's okay to be wrong, Zaya.
But yeah, I'd like to believe there's still some of Clark left in there somewhere, but maybe that makes it worse. Maybe that doesn't make it better. Maybe that makes it worse that he's eating random people in the sewers. Anyway, moving on. So after getting saved in episodes 1 and 2, General Lane ends up dying in this episode. Lex manages to force a phone call conversation with General Lane by recruiting a DoD soldier known as Jones. Wasn't it John? Was it? No, it was Joe.
It was Doug Janelle or Jonelle. And I was wondering, is that meant to be a play on that comic book author? Or is she an artist? The Joelle Jones,
I don't know.
The one that created that Wonder Woman?
Yeah. I don't know. Threatening Jones's family, Lex uses this call to threaten the general into revealing the whereabouts of Luthor's daughter, who he knows has been in contact with her. Luthor then threatens to send Doomsday over to attack the DoD building, but Lane refuses to reveal Elizabeth's location. Then there's a little back and forth with him and Jones, and then he shoots General Lane. And this is after General Lane had procured, is that the right word? Procured? part of the serum.
Flexed is the term.
Yeah. Okay. And has to inject himself with this concoction, which I didn't know if it was going to turn him into like another creature. I was like, is he going to fight with this, or what is it going to do? You know, what I did
well,
you
that's
think
I
that
think
as well,
that,
or
and then- well, that's the
no?
interesting thing when like things play out like this, because we don't know what the original plan for the serum was going to be. He had the serum, but this was before he got shot and everything like that. So what would logically would the serum be? Was he always going to sacrifice himself, or no? Or was there going to be
Right,
something where
because he said he was the only person there. Obviously, after he had been shot, he's like, I'm the only person there. So was he going to give it to one of the boys? Or
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously the plan, we're going to get there in a second, but obviously the plan required someone to sacrifice themselves.
yeah? So it's like, yeah, it's just interesting to see like if he hadn't been shot, would he like would what would have happened with the serum at that point as well? But
right.
I think the way that it was done was like I don't think anyone would have guessed that it was going to happen. That they would have that General Lane would have because at the end of the day it was a sacrifice. Like sure he'd been shot, but he wasn't going to die. He'd been shot in like the stomach or something.
Well,
like
the thing is, he also walks over casually to Doomsday because he knows this is what's going to happen. He takes the hit. Doomsday stands there kind of looking at Lois for a moment while she's freaking out. And he had already told John and Natalie at this point to take him to the fortress.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think
recorded a video for Lois, by the way.
So, yeah, so the whole plan of action I thought was like on the fly, obviously. Like I think it's sort of weird to think because I don't think anyone would have thought it, whether it was in season 1 or heading into the season or even heading into this episode, that General Lane arguably has the best character send off that the show will do.
Yeah.
In regards to like final, because he dies and he's 100% dead. Mm-hmm. And like how he dies, the heroic nature of it, and also what his death leads to and helps the show prosper going forward. Mm. And then when you mix that with the flashbacks as well, and the flashbacks tied perfectly, especially those last
I want to bring
they tied perfectly into the ending of the episode. Because I was sort of wondering when like they were like, because I knew this was General Lane's last episode, so I knew he was probably going to die, but I just thought it would have been a bit of a like when he got shot, I was like, no way, that's how they're killing him. I was like, really? They're going to kill him in such a lame way with his
from a random person we've never met before.
Yeah, who gets like played by Lex Luthor, which makes the DoD look really dumb. Like you got this guy who just got played easily by Lex Luthor, and that's how he dies. But he dies in like a way better manner, and obviously the after effect of the death and stuff is, you know, very well done and well written as well, because I don't think anyone would have predicted that that's exactly what they would have done. So, yeah.
I've also seen this as well, Lloyd. A lot of people said that they didn't like some of the flashback scenes, the way the conversations went and everything. I'm going to tell you how it works for me. Let me tell you how I rationalize these things. I believe these are memories that he has, so they're not 100% one for one how things happen. This is how he remembers them happening because they're from his point of view. Just like with the scene here where she was getting married, there was no one in that scene except for him and her. And I felt like that was just him remembering it that way. So I feel like these were his memories. They weren't like us taking a peek at those things. It was how he remembered them happening. Does that make any sense?
No, I think they're just flashbacks, because there's all those people in the house on the Kent farm when he's listening in on Martha and Clark talking. There's all those people there. If that was the case, I would have just had Martha and Clark stand there.
No. I don't remember. I don't mean that like no one was around. I mean, this is just from his perspective. All these scenes.
Yeah, I guess, but like I don't think like the vacants, because in that room there, like that's like the reception area. Like the wedding was outside because we had the flashbacks when we saw season 1. The opening thing there where they get married. So yeah, I don't know, but I think like I liked the Clark reveal scene because I thought it was funny. I think that was the whole point.
That's the thing. Candace said I laughed at it. Yeah, I mean, some people probably felt the same way.
I think the whole point of that scene was to be funny, wasn't it? Like the whole ridiculous nature of like that's how Superman is. Like essentially, he just wears glasses and then has the the you know, that happy-go-lucky sort of like personality. Like you walk, regardless of whether you ran into Clark Kent, you wouldn't think he's Superman because of the way he acts.
Right.
You know, like I actually like like when they do Superman like this, where he is just a guy acting normal wearing glasses. And I always say it, Eric, when he takes his glasses off, looks different than when he has his glasses on. Because I'm so used to seeing it. If you're, because here's the thing, he looks different. He looks different because his eyes are different. His eyes change when he has the glasses on. Like now, I'm looking at Stanley Kubrick, and there's Eric's Reloaded. Like it's just how it works.
Yeah.
And if your entire experience with Clark Kent is him with glasses, guess what? You're not going to be used to seeing him without glasses. Yeah, where did Eric go? Like, I don't know, some random F2 Francis or something just came in the building and sat in his chair, teleported.
So you were on board the flashbacks, is what you're saying?
I'll tell you what. I said in my review, I think there's the bit where Superman goes, "I'm him." Have you seen those stupid edits? They're pretty good, but those edits you see on TikTok where they say like they would say like, "I'm him, I'm this, I'm that, or the other," and then like there's a music edit, something with clips from a show or whatever. I have a feeling someone's going to do that with that Superman clip. Like if they go, "I'm him," and then just goes and shows him as Superman flying around and stuff like that.
So the wrap up of the episode is we find out that General Lane has sacrificed himself to save Superman by injecting himself with the serum so that his heart could be hopefully a option for bringing Superman back. And at this point, we're not sure if that's going to work. However, it does end up working. And at the end of the episode, we see Superman wake up in this cryo chamber. Now, what
so that looked like Eric when he took his glasses off.
Oh yeah, definitely 100%. The thing is, though, it seems like they're not for sure how this is going to affect him physically. Is he going to be as powerful as he was before? Or are we talking about a Superman with limited power? Like he's not as strong as he was prior to this? Because
the thing is that they said he's going to have to like recover. Like he might wake up or something, but it's going to take him a while to like fully recover and stuff. And I do wonder if they do the black suit. I really do wonder if they do the black suit, like the recovery sort of suit.
I was waiting for some Canada photos of him in a black suit. That's what I was waiting for. I mean, maybe.
Did you hold on? I didn't actually. Yeah. So someone emailed this. I don't know where. I think it might have been maybe Bitsy Tulloch posted it on the Instagram stories last night. But someone I randomly got an email, and it was some person emailing me this. Yeah, so it was posted on the thing. Fuck off. There we go. Present, share screen. Okay, that. Hold on, let me. Thoughts.
So it shows Jordan in a modified version of his suit with the S on it and no mask, and Jonathan wearing what looks like a black T-shirt,
which is like the very Connor Kent style, like from. Thoughts
about what?
Well, do you think those are the suits that they're going to have come the series finale?
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would love it if Jonathan got the Connor Kent suit. I would love it if Jordan got a modified version of the suit he has right now.
Well, he's like Jonathan, like Jordan's sort of wearing like the 90s Superboy sort of style, but it's like without the jacket. It's sort of like blended into the.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Canada says that's what the cast and crew got at the wrap party. So I'm okay with it.
This is Bitsy Tulloch posted it on the it might still be there. I'm not I don't know, maybe it's a bit too late now because it was 24 hours ago. It was yesterday, so maybe it's still on the Instagram stories on the Superman Lois account.
Yeah. So do you think that Superman is going to be not as powerful as he was last season? Like he's going to be severely underpowered?
I think by the series finale, he'll be the strongest he's ever been. But I don't know how, as soon as he comes out, whether he's like that. I don't know.
I will say shout out to them for coming up with a clever way to keep Tyler Hoechlin in the show, because every episode we've been able to have him in the show without having him in the show. He's either been memories or flashbacks or holograms, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, which makes me think that once he comes back, we're going to get a lot of Superman because he like has really been like really. He honestly was probably only working like 2 days or something like that in all the episodes. Outside of like lying in a chamber thing, just like sort of like having a sleep. Like so, like
yeah.
I'd assume that he's probably there's probably going to be a good amount of not necessarily Superman flying around, but a lot of like Clark on screen at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm interested to see how it's handled. I don't think there's going to be much in episode 4 outside of maybe like the cliffhanger for the episode is maybe him like the seal being broken and him actually getting out. But I feel like dramatically they wouldn't just do that. I think they might do it where like Jordan or Jonathan or someone else is in trouble and then Superman comes in. I think it's like a dramatic thing and that would be better. Mm-hmm. Like he emerges from the fortress and goes, "Fuck you" to whoever it is. And I'm back, bitch.
Maybe, possibly. Anyway, I'm going to say this is, for me, I'm going to give a number score. I think this episode was almost as perfect as it gets in terms of, like, pacing. What I really appreciate about it is maybe it's the limited budget, maybe it's the limited season, but the pacing reminds me of, like, an animated pacing, if that makes sense, where they're not wasting a lot of time. Everything they're doing feels like it's on purpose. Like, there's no, at least in the first 3 episodes, there's no throwaway scenes that I could go, if you take that scene out, you know what I mean? It would make it, the ending would be the same. I feel like everything has been important.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing when you have like a reduced budget and stuff, it really makes you focus in on the writing and the character moments. And that's what's interesting. And the surprising reveals and the twists and turns fold in instead of like, oh, here's a random action scene for a couple of minutes and stuff like that, which I think, to be honest, if I'm fucking Disney Plus and the Marvel shows they've been releasing where they'll do like a mid-episode and then they'll just do like a 5-minute or 2-minute action sequence with a lot of VFX to make up for it, to make the episode someone worth watching. I'll be watching this episode in particular where there's not a lot of it, and how well crafted the episode can be. And be its own singular episode that can, like, it's for general lane and stuff, but then also set up what's going to come up afterwards as well and what came before in the previous 2 episodes as well. So I don't know, like I'll tell you what, if Todd Helbing and Brent Fletcher were looking for a job and stuff after this, they probably got a good resume based off these first 3 episodes. Just show them these first 3 episodes and go, yeah, this is what we did with a really small budget.
Let's see. I did a poll. Let me see if it's still up now. I don't know if I hit send or not. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
I don't know. You're the one controlling it. You should know. Why are you asking?
Okay, so I did a poll. What did you think of this week's Superman and Lois? And the 78% said they loved it. 18% said it was okay. And 4% said they didn't like it.
Yeah, that's trolling.
You think so?
Yeah. Or just like brain rot, one of the two.
Let's see. I'm going to ask a question to the chat now. Will Superman get the black suit? There we go. Feel free to answer that. We will check on that in a moment. 4% basically said they didn't watch it. Yeah.
Eric, what do you have on your glizzy?
I don't know. It really depends on where I'm getting it, what kind I'm getting.
Like, okay, let's just say you're at I don't know, you're at the town fair and there's a glizzy. What do you get on the glizzy?
Mustard.
Actually, no, let me change it. You're walking down the streets of New York and you get a glizzy. What do you get on the glizzy?
Mustard, pickle, onions.
Pickled onions or pickle and onions?
Pickle and onions.
Okay.
Mustard, pickle, and onions. Very Chicago style. I know that's probably not everybody's favorite, but
yeah, I've noticed that like a lot of Americans, like mustard is the go.
I love it. I have like several different kinds. I have Dijon mustard, spicy mustard, regular like yellow mustard. I have all of it in my fridge.
In the fridge. Mm-hmm. By the way, do you keep ketchup in the fridge after you open it?
No. Who does that?
I've had this argument with so many people. People put ketchup or tomato sauce. It ruins
the flavor.
No, it's also like, because what do you put ketchup on? You put it on fucking hot food? Why are you putting cold stuff on hot food? I hate it. When I ever see it in some, and it's I know people, what on the bottle it says you put it in the fridge. I'm like, yeah, but I use it enough. Like, if
I will use my ketchup bottle in 1 week. So
I don't know about a week, but I'll probably use it like within like 2 weeks or something like that.
I will say, like, if we order from a restaurant and I'm at somebody's house where I know they put their stuff in the fridge, I ask for like.
But that's the thing, at a restaurant, when they have the tomato, when they have the ketchup there, where is it? It's not a fucking fridge, is it? It's sitting out in the, it's on the table.
It's sitting on the table waiting for you to come in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it depends. It depends what size bottle of ketchup Eric's buying. Is he buying like those massive ones, or? That's the thing.
No, I get like the medium-sized ones, I guess.
What, Heinz?
No, I don't do.
What do you get?
I think it's Fancy. It's whatever one that you get at like the
Fancy
or whatever. Yeah, I forget the name of it.
Isn't that Heinz?
There is a Heinz Fancy ketchup, but this is like a separate.
What's
brand.
Fancy ketchup?
I'd have to go look. I don't know what it is. I reorder it every time. It's just whatever it is. Jason here says, "Do you think him having a human heart will give him a tolerance to kryptonite?" I mean, maybe. I don't even know if that's going to matter, though. Maybe it will.
I don't put syrup in the fridge. Syrup goes in the pantry. I don't put syrup in the fridge.
All right, so let's talk about the drama, Paigey. Are you ready for the drama?
Was this Diddy related?
Here we go. So this was uploaded by James Gunn. It is a picture, the first official picture of Krypto with Superman, and the internet is on fire. It is getting burned down as we speak right now. There are some people that are like, fuck yes, and there's other people like, how did you fumble the bag? So what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know how. That's not Krypto, bro. That's like, what is that? Like, I'm sorry. That's such a lame Krypto. I can't get around it.
I'm letting the chat just kind of say what they got to say.
No, sorry. I think I lagged out or something like that. What was the last thing you heard me say?
Oh, that. How do you get it this wrong? Kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lame Krypto.
Yeah,
it's a lame. So here's the thing. I know people are going to go, oh, there's multiple. But Krypto, if you're doing like, apparently this is meant to be a faithful adaptation of Superman, by the way, that's been put out there. Krypto is a Labrador. Krypto is it's designed for Labrador. If you're doing there's different takes where he's like a weird fucking wolf thing and stuff like that. As a Labrador owner and a Labrador enthusiast, I'm not happy with the Labrador erasure here that's happening.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that doesn't help against James Gunn.
It doesn't help because this whole movie's been criticized as being a self-insert thing before this. A lot of people have been criticizing it as a James Gunn self-insert, like he's hiring his mates, like it's like different things like that. I don't think this helps where he's self-inserted his dog as Krypto when that's not Krypto, man.
You know which Krypto I'm going to say this, the Krypto from Titans was good. I like
and that was a Labrador. It was a Labrador cross, but it was majority Labrador because that's what the dog is. Yeah, I don't care if he based it off a dog he took in. That's like, okay, well, fuck, do that with anything. Doesn't mean you self-inserted. Like, it's your dog. You enjoy the dog.
Like, I'm going to say this. This is my opinion on it.
Because you got to remember,
if
they do Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, fairly based off the comic book, this dog has to be in it. Krypto's in that book, and I'd assume that Krypto's going to be in the movie. And it's just, offense.
Paigey, this is our DCU Krypto now.
Yeah, mate, it's fucked. It's cooked. Here we go. You know who? Like, honestly, if we're being completely honest, who they should have cast as Krypto?
Who? Cal.
Yeah, Cal. Cal the Labrador. It's called Cal. If he's got a Superman collar, it would have been easy.
Jordan, I don't think there's any world where that's going to happen. James Gunn doesn't really bend to people's criticisms. So
yeah, he's not going to change it. I think it's lame. It's like the only thing in this movie so far that I've gone, that's just arse. And to be completely honest, just because.
Which, by the way, we still haven't seen an official picture of this actual suit yet.
Well, yeah, from like a good angle. I think you ran.
We got it sitting down, and now we have it from the back, but we've not seen the suit in a frame. Why are we waiting? Is the trailer around the corner? New York City Comic Con? What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's CCXP. Like, imagine that. Like, just imagine that with a cape just flowing in the wind.
Here we go.
That's like 30 times better. Not saying that to cast Cal, but
Yeah.
imagine like Cal. Imagine that cape in the wind. Fuck. What are you doing, Gunn? What are you doing, James Gunn? Take the self-insert shit out.
So yeah, there's set photos, but we have not seen an official photo of the suit in a good light. Like, it's always been like sitting down, leaning over. This is a shot of the cape, which with the emblem on it. I'm good with that. We've not seen a proper like shot of the suit.
Yeah, like I don't know if specifically like there's because you gotta wait until you don't want to release a poster too early. You have to sort of line up with your marketing thing, but it seems like they're probably going to start marketing it in December.
Right. So do you think we're not going to see anything in New York City Comic Con? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think, well, maybe, but I think at CCXP, and I think it's end of November, December, whatever it is, you'll probably get a short teaser and they'll release, or they might just release a poster and that's it. But I think they might put like a short teaser thing, even if it's just like, I could like, if the thing I could imagine them doing is maybe like Clark Kent walking down the street, something happens, and then Superman appears out of nowhere, and all of a sudden Clark's not there. Like one of those quick, like day-to-day Superman type of things. So it doesn't really spoil too much of the plot. It doesn't really give anything major moments away, but it gives you a hint of maybe the feel and the tone.
I just want a proper visual of the suit. That's what I want. Just a good, clear shot of what the suit looks like. I mean, I know we've seen it in set photos, but those are very poorly. Sometimes you get like a shot in motion that doesn't look right or whatever. I want to see what the studio is going to make the suit look like in the film.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. As far as Krypto goes, again, when it comes to like stuff like this, I want to see what the product looks like whatever it is they're planning on doing. But my initial reaction is, this doesn't look like Krypto to me. That's my initial.
Yeah, that's the only thing is that I've questioned it like a couple of things. Is that in the lead up to this whole thing, it was like, oh, it's going to be really faithful to the Superman stuff, but there's just a lot of things that are very like they're leaning away from it, and it's just more folding into like, okay, it's definitely James Gunn's take on Superman and some of the characters around that. So yeah. Like,
is there going to be a cape? Is Krypto going to have a cape or no? Or is it just going to have like the little symbol on the collar?
Well, it depends. Like, we don't even know like what this Krypto situation is. Like, is he actually Superman? Is he from Krypton, or is he like a random dog that gets powers?
That's a good point.
I mean, that might make sense why he looks nothing like Krypto, because he's not from Krypton. Like, he's just some random dog.
Well, I mean, this is a dog that James Gunn, well, not this dog, but technically this dog is a dog that James Gunn adopted. So maybe it isn't Krypto. Maybe it's not a dog from Krypton.
Which leads into the self-insert thing even more.
I know.
So I'm sort of hoping that's not the case. But
all right. Let's see here. We're going to end the poll. The question was, will Superman get the black suit? We got 55% saying yes and 44% saying no.
Yeah, I think it's a flip of the coin. Like, because there's no proof that he gets the black suit or anything like that. Like, I don't necessarily think he gets it, but I'd like to see him get it if he gets out of that chamber thing, like within the next episode. Just because, like they said, it's gonna. So yeah.
The amount of anti-comic book fan film snobs who've been displaying a lot of nobody cares about Superman or Krypto whining on film Twitter over this image is laughably pathetic. I mean, it's getting to the point where they're becoming, for me, stuff like this is becoming like I'm not even tuned into it because it just doesn't make any sense.
As soon as I saw the image, I knew that as soon as I saw the image this morning when I woke up, I was like, well, I already know that that's divisive. Just because I already like I saw it and like, well, that just doesn't look like Krypto. It looks pretty shit.
Right, but it also doesn't have to become a big like anti-Superman movement.
Like, and I'm someone that doesn't really care too much. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like it's shit. It's like, but it is what it is. It's already done. Like you can't change it. But then there's people that will go on about it for 4 or 5 the entire next week or something about it, and like, and it's like, well, you know, I guess it's not a small part of the movie. It's I guess Krypto's gonna be there, but
yeah.
I think Lloyd, it's more of a concern over the other things in the movie as well. And it's like Krypto's not a hard thing to get right, and he got it wrong. So I think that's the concern there. It's like
right, you like everything else probably would have been overlooked if he would have nailed Superman and Krypto, and I think that's the only thing that people would have cared about. But
yeah, and then he's already been criticized about the self-insert stuff, and then this is like literally I think the most self-insert stuff yet. It's that he's literally based off the dog that he adopted. Yeah. So, which if he wants to do that, it's his movie. That's fine. But at the same time, you can't make it this whole thing of like it's this overly accurate thing.
Well, it makes it hard for us to defend his decisions because then I can't be like, well, let him cook because what happens.
Because I'll say like I still think this movie is going to be great. Like I'd be shocked if it's arse or like just mid. I don't think it's going to be mid. Like I'm going into this movie expecting not a 10 out of 10 because there's just some things I don't agree with based off the outside. Like I don't like the Guy Gardner casting, for example. I don't like that. So there's little things like that. I know Eric's super excited for Frank Grillo's. So he's already given a 10 out of 10 just whenever Frank Grillo's on screen. I love it.
Yeah, sorry, 100%.
But there's like little things which I'm concerned about, but it's like I'd be shocked if I don't enjoy the movie and like it a lot. But at the same time, like Guardians 2 is pretty shit up until like the final like 30 minutes. So I'm like, is it gonna be his other Guardians movies or because the thing is Guardians 2 is very like Gunn has said that's his most like personal movie and it's not great. So that's the only thing I'm concerned with is that if this movie is very self-insert and it is a very personal one, is it going to be on like the Guardians 2 quality? That's my only concern. But I've been concerned about but it's like a minor concern, like in the back of your head, like but it's nothing where you like it takes over, if that makes sense at the same time.
Well, I want to see a trailer or a teaser.
Well,
so I can
Jordan,
get the vibe
that's not going to be hard to be better than Man of Steel. I think it'd actually be an achievement if it found a way to be worse.
Yeah. I want to wait and see like what the trailer looks like before I make any final calls on this one. But I can understand why people would have an issue with this. It's very obvious to me why.
I am surprised that, like as you said before, like they haven't just because now we've got like the back with the cape and they got like the one sitting down. Like, why don't they just do one? I guess it's because it's for the official poster.
Yeah. I saw this take and I just wanted to share this one. No, this is a big no. With the success of the Batman and the Penguin, the smartest thing DC should do is prioritize Matt Reeves' universe over everything else and make this the main universe. No.
No. Wait. No. Well, the thing is that this like universe is probably done in like what?
One more movie and another.
Well, no, because are they doing 3 Batman movies?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm counting the one they're doing now, so it will have the one they're working on now, and then one more movie, and then that's it.
Yeah. So like.
Keep in mind, this is the same universe. They don't want to call the Penguin. They don't want to use Oswald Cobblepot. Like, I don't want this to be the main universe. This is too grimdark, too much. I get it. There's a market for it, and there's a reason why the Penguin is doing well. I get that. But I don't want this to be the main DC universe.
No. I still haven't watched an episode of The Penguin. I still haven't watched 1 second of it.
Well, apparently this week's episode the numbers were up higher than the previous 2 weeks. But I'm going to put this out there. It's because they changed the fucking night. And people had to get used to what night it is on. Like,
I still don't understand why they premiered it on that Thursday because it was an HBO show and HBO is always Sunday. It's always Sunday night HBO for your big show. So, also, I saw people going off about I can't believe they've done this for the show, and it's like the end thing when the episode ends and they show like the WBTV logo and stuff, and then they do like an animation that's for the show, and like they have like the Penguin umbrella come down. It's like, but what do you mean? All the shows did that. Like Flash did it, Arrow did it, Supergirl did it, Stargirl did it. Like they have the WBTV logo or the Warner Brothers logo, and then something to do with that show would like go around the Warner Brothers logo. They've been doing it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I guess it's like the as you would call them, Eric, the news.
I would disagree with this, McLeod. I don't see any world where Robert Pattinson's Batman could exist in the world that James Gunn's Superman exists in, because all of those characters have been superheroes for a long time. This Batman world doesn't have any of those characters in it. So
yeah, I think it's the opposite. I think this Batman it looked completely out of place in the thing. Like
I would say that.
That's why I'm very interested to see who they cast as the DCU Batman and his style, because I sort of want him to be like overly comic booky. I want him to have like potentially like black undies on the outside of a grayish suit and stuff like that. And,
right.
Like actually have like a ridiculous like belt, like gadgets on there and stuff like that. Utility belt, that's the word. Yeah.
Here we go, Pagey. The Joker 2 will reportedly cost a $150 to $200 million loss to Warner Brothers.
Mate, I think this is pretty cooked when you think about it. Like how big the drop off was in the second week and stuff like that. Like they've literally got the complete opposites. Like I didn't think it was going to be the opposite effect after that, like complete opposite. I didn't think it was going to be that bad from the first week, but after the second week, it has got literally the antithesis of what happened with the first movie with the word of mouth.
Yeah.
I actually can't believe it. Like
I actually see there are people right now on Twitter trying to defend the bad aspects of this movie, saying that it was done intentionally. Like it was like Todd Phillips made these things bad on purpose. If that's the case, don't hire this person anymore. Like what the fuck? Literally, people were defending it, saying he's playing 6D chess. He made it bad on purpose. What the fuck?
Yeah. Because it's also like a thing with like I don't even know like on like a marketing scale and stuff whether they did anything wrong, or if it's literally purely down to the fact that, you know, people just didn't like it.
Look, if you actually like this movie, good for you. I found it to be very boring. You won't have to wait long to make your decision either. Apparently, it's going to release on digital
in 2 weeks
on October before Halloween. 25 days. Look, I want a couple things here. One, this is not good for the film industry by any stretch of the imagination. The fact that now the Life Raft is just releasing movies quicker just incentivizes people to not go see movies at theaters.
Well, it's not a great thing when 3 movies. I guess Aquaman 2 did okay at the end of the day because it had such a long run. It actually sort of evened it off itself a bit. But it doesn't help when at least 2 billion-dollar movies from 2019 flop at the box office.
Yes. And both of them are not just mild flops. We're talking massive spectacular flops. Yeah.
So Joker 2 and Captain Marvel 2 or the Marvels. Right. Like that's a real bad indication. And like it's not like they like, oh, the first week was, it's not like it was a Batman v Superman situation where they had a good first week and then died after that or something. They just flopped out of the gate. Like no one went and saw them. And
this one, unlike the Marvels, was not for lack of marketing. They had plenty of time to market this movie. They released it at a film festival. But they made a lot of bad decisions prior to the movie coming out, like no test screenings of the movie, studio executives not having any sort of.
It also didn't help that
Todd Phillips, like it was a lot of issues.
I don't know if you saw it, but like I think it might have been like 2 or 3 days before it came out, like where like the public could go see it. There was a clip of like Joaquin Phoenix at the Cannes Film Festival, I think it might have been, or one of the film festivals they went to where they showed this. And I think it was the first time he saw the movie, and people could read lips and stuff, and he's saying that it was shit. Like he's like that was like shit or something like that.
Well, apparently there was times where they would just throw the script out and rewrite lines on set, like just rewrite dialogue and things like that. And these are all things that have been confirmed that they were actually doing. And I just. Wow. I mean, and people are calling this a comic book movie, and I would say that's a very thin way to describe what the Joker was. This movie, and again, I have seen it, is so loosely connected to the Joker and Harley Quinn that you could almost just not even call it a Joker movie. It's
Yeah, I think
that loosely connected.
I think the biggest issue is just the fact that it's a big studio movie that's flopped again. Like and it was a $1 billion movie back in the first one,
and
like,
inflated budget. Keep in mind, if this movie would have had a similar budget to the first film, we wouldn't have all this discussion. It would be no issue because we go, okay, well, yeah, it flopped, but it only costs like $60 million to make, and that's nothing. No, this movie was a $200 million plus film, and then whatever they paid for advertising on it. And I think they said it had to get over 450 just to break even. That's crazy to me. Crazy. People say, oh, we want director-driven vision films without any oversight whatsoever. This is what happens. Like, this is what happens when the executives are completely hands-off, when the people on the side of the studio are just not present at all. Look, I don't want them coming in and tearing down a director's vision, but you have to have someone there to rein in some of the craziness.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is, but someone has to be there. This is wild.
Well, it's usually a producer and stuff, but all the producers on this movie, I think, were Todd Phillips. I think the screenwriter, and then like Todd Phillips' mates. I don't think anyone was a neutral producer, if that makes sense, or like a financing producer.
You know what beat Joker? The Terrifier, another clown, a low budget horror movie beat Joker. Another scary clown movie beat the most popular clown character arguably in the world, with Lady Gaga in the film.
Just Dance. Gotta be okay. If that song was in the movie, do you think it would have?
Yeah. Well, Transformers 1 is also being rushed to digital stream on demand too. I wish we would get away from this. I really do. I think having like a 45 to 60-day window to wait for something to come out on digital should be the standard. This rushing things to digital to cover up a financial loss is so bad. So bad. Yeah. Terrifier 3 had a $2 million budget. Let me see what that's doing right now at Box Office Mojo.
It's like 20 million. I saw it domestic or something.
Let's see. Yeah, it's already made 21 worldwide, and it cost $2 million to make. Either this is the smartest, most purposely awfully done movie made in modern times, or just a complete failure on so many levels, between like the directing, the writing, maybe the acting. I don't know, because the script was torn up and thrown out several times. It's just holy shit. Holy shit. I mean, at least with the Marvels, you can look at the movie and say it's a mid movie for most people that just didn't get proper promotion. You know what I mean? Like, most people would say it's watchable, it's entertaining. It may not be the greatest movie I've ever seen. I would argue that Joker 2 is unwatchable. It is an unwatchable movie. There was actually a film critic, I don't remember who it was, but he said he went into the movie, bought his ticket, went to the movie, stayed for like an hour, got so bored, went out, did a bit of shopping, came back in to watch the end of the movie. Like, he literally just didn't even stay and watch the whole movie. He came back in to watch the end of the movie. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Furiosa is another one. Another one that didn't perform well in the box office, but when it came out on streaming, people liked it because it was a really well done movie. So maddening. All right, we got to wrap this up. We got a few more minutes and a couple more things to talk about, so let's get there. We have an untitled DC anime-style action comedy series in works at Cartoon Network. I'm going to assume this is in response to My Adventures with Superman.
I assume this is Batman related. I thought that's what you're going to say.
It probably is. It probably is, because it's untitled DC project. But My Adventures with Superman has been well received, so it's not surprising they're going to do this. But it makes me wonder, does that mean it's going to be connected to that universe? Because it says anime-style action/comedy, and I think that is what My Adventures with Superman would be classified as.
I don't know. There was another rumor that they're doing a Flash animated series, so I wonder if this is maybe connected to it.
Maybe.
And you could do Flash anime style. Like, you could do all the villains and stuff. Like Gorilla Grodd would be interesting in like an anime style or something.
I'm going to tell you guys right now in the chat, if it is anything even one room over from Batman, I'm going to flip my lid. If it's like, oh, it is a Bat family related show, or it's a Batgirl series, or it's Batwoman, or it's Batmite. If it's any of those things, I will flip my lid. It has to be something that has no direct connection to the Batman family for me to be like, I'm on board with this.
Do you want the twist in this situation?
What is that?
It's a reboot because they thought the show was cancelled way too early of Pennyworth, but it's in the anime style action with comedy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Please don't.
Would you watch that?
Give me a Green Lantern show, give me a Hawk man, Hawk woman show, something like that. Something else outside of Batman.
I thought you were gonna say a Hawk tour. Because you paused on Hawk. You just didn't go one.
Yeah, I almost did. I almost said that. But yeah, I mean, give me Aquaman. I would take an Aquaman show. Anything other than a Bat Family show. Anything. I'll take anything. I mean, even like the Wonder Twins, I would take that over a Bat Family show. I will agree with this, Anthony. Young Justice season 5, but I think that's pretty much done. I don't think there's a possibility. Maybe it could be. Maybe, possibly. All right, last thing we're going to discuss before we go is the big announcement from Tom Holland. Did you see this? The big announcement?
Yeah, he's a lesbian now, something, isn't he?
No,
oh, no.
No. He announced an alcohol-free beer.
I'm sorry, I don't get it. Non-alcoholic beer. Just either drink the beer with alcohol or just have a Coke or something.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I saw online, and you can extrapolate what you want from this. But apparently, he is recovering. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but that's like I think recovering through drinking non-alcoholic beer is like, oh, I'm off the cocaine. Let me sniff some flour. Like,
well,
no,
that's exactly it. So I know people in my life that have recovered from alcoholism, and they don't want to drink non-alcoholic drinks either. They feel like that's too close to the real thing.
And let's be honest, like this isn't his creation. It's someone that was developing, like financiers that were developing their own non-alcoholic beer, and like, well, we need a face for it.
Yeah.
Like it's the same with like people don't realize it, but it's like, you know how there's like, I'm sure you saw it, like how Mr. Beast and Logan Paul and KSI launched that Lunchables,
Feastables, whatever.
Like people saying like, oh, how did they come up with this idea? They just I'm like, it wasn't them. It was people with money that backed it, and then, well, hold on, we're gonna have to need people to promote it. And They can team up with Prime. They can team up with the Feastables bar, and guess what's in a Lunchable normally? A drink and a little chocolate bar. You team up with them, they choose them as
Diddy and Ciroc.
Did Diddy promote Ciroc?
Yes. Yeah,
I thought
he didn't say it was his, but he promoted it. Yeah.
Are you
I don't
sure?
remember if he said it was his or not. I don't remember. I just know that I remember him promoting it. He talked about it in songs. So yeah, he definitely.
I thought Diddy promoted chloroform. I thought that was the thing that.
Too soon.
I thought no, that's what you're telling me. It's in one of his music videos. He's like pouring it on like a damp.
I reject all of that. I do not. No, none of that.
I know that's what you were saying. I'm just basing off what you're the Diddy expert.
Yeah, definitely not. But yeah, I don't know any person that likes alcohol or was addicted to alcohol that likes to drink non-alcoholic drinks. I've never seen that. Maybe this is a new thing. I will say the rise of non-alcoholic bars seems to be pretty high. Let me see.
Coco Melon roasted him. God.
Who did?
No, speaking of KSI, you see his new song is so bad that Coco Melon, the little baby show, roasted him in the comments.
Yeah, let's see here. I saw an article about this. Yeah, they're calling them mocktail bars now, is what they're saying. Mocktail bars.
But I think a mocktail is different than a non-alcoholic beer.
I would say you're right on that, but I will also say that I think just the general idea of non-alcoholic things that taste alcoholic or used to include alcohol seem to be popular. They seem to be rising in popularity.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like I'll have a beer if I go out and stuff, but I don't necessarily I don't have beer at home because I don't really necessarily love the taste of beer. Like it's like if I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give like even a good beer is like 7 out of 10 or something like that. Like I'd much prefer drink something else, you know, like for the most part. Like I'm not that big of a beer connoisseur.
So you're not going to try this Tom Holland?
I don't know if he wants to pay me to do it probably, but probably.
I'll be honest.
Shit.
I don't like the taste of beer in general, so I definitely don't want to drink one that's non-alcoholic. I mean, if I'm going to drink it, I want something out of it. I guess.
From it, yeah.
Right. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming out. Appreciate you being here. That's it for the after party today. If you stay in the stream, barring YouTube not making any mistakes, it should redirect you to Party Nation with Lance and whoever he has the guest over there. However, if not, thank you guys so much for being here.
Everyone I know.
Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment down below. Thank you guys for the super chats. I do appreciate it. And we'll see everyone on Thursday.
From the screen to the ring to the pen to the.
We'll see everybody on Thursday for the Nocturnal Nerdcast. So looking forward to it. Take care and bye everyone. Have a good night.
Whoa.